Hey, welcome to Second Wave Defense. In the conclusion, we got 3 strategies you need to try and that we're going to help you with these next 2 weeks. But I want to get into some of the reasons why. So, flu season peaks between December and February. I was thinking about this. I think about these things. It's my job to think about health. It's possible that it's going to be a coronavirus too. This means we have 4 months or perhaps less until a potential second wave. So, where the numbers start kicking up around here. Coronavirus kills people with comorbidities like obesity, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes at higher rates than the general population. So, gone too soon. And I was reminded of this when a friend lost her father at 73 years old, and he had many of those complications, and that's what he died of, is the result of those issues that he had. So he didn't die of coronavirus, he just died from high blood pressure, high cholesterol. It took his life. And that stuff haunts me. That stuff haunts me, and that's why this program is happening there. When things like that happen, you start asking a lot of what ifs. What if we had done this? What if he had done that? What if this? And so this program hopefully can be a what if, before somebody gets to that point. So we can't save everybody, but maybe this will get into your hands, and you need to take action on this right now. And this is your chance to do something positive that removes some risk factors, that gives you a lot more time. Because honestly, I feel like he cheated about 15 years of holding grandkids and loving on them and being a part of their life, maybe even seeing great grandkids. So let's do what we can for that. So if you have a BMI over 30, you have a 40% greater chance of dying based on some of the stats. A BMI over 40 is a 90% greater chance. So about twice as likely to die when you get it. Now, again, you're not like guaranteed you're dying. All right, it's a fairly low mortality rate, but it's a double when you are obese. And so, for example, the top end 5'5", 240 is over 40 on the BMI. So if we go to 5'5", we go across all the way to 40. That is 240. So you can find yourself on here. Perhaps I don't. The scale doesn't go over for those who are taller. It doesn't go over quite that far. But you might be able to find yourself. If you're in the red category, you're in a higher risk level. All right. So I'll give you a second to check to find yourself there. If you can see yourself with a small font. But so if you're in the yellow, not too bad. I mean, like you're not in the higher risk. Still good to do some stuff, but it is not as amazingly critical. The closer you are to that 40, the more critical it is that you do something about this. All right, 4 months is enough time, to give the most vulnerable a fighting chance. All right, so if you are in that 40 or you're near it, you're in the 30s at least, you can remove some variables there. It happens all the time. This is a picture of one of our walls of the studio, and all the weight loss stories that we have, all the people that have dropped weight. I get to see it constantly, and I see people losing, dropping their cholesterol, they're getting off medications, lowering their blood pressure, all of these things. And honestly, a lot of it just comes down to doing that good work, getting the great exercise in, and these nutrition strategies we're going to talk about. So I even got an update from Karen. I actually posted this picture just a couple days ago, and Karen said, "Hey, where am I on there?" And so I said, "Hey, send me a current picture." And so she sent me a current picture, and I matched up with her starting out picture there, and she pulled off this 50-pound weight loss in 4 months. So she legit did that, and she hasn't been training with us for 6 years since then, but she's been maintaining it. So learning the strategies, developing the habits, and she's kept them. It is possible. All right. So longevity and cardiovascular exercise. So this is one of our 3 main points we're going to be working on, is improving your heart and lung function. Can you strengthen up against the COVID-19? I think so, but you be the judge. All right. Low cardiorespiratory fitness is a sounder predictor of death than risk factors such as hypertension, smoking, and diabetes. So if you have low cardiorespiratory fitness, they can predict your death sooner. And honestly, I don't like that in light of what's going on right now. All right. And so we need to definitely address that factor. All right. So cardiovascular disease is the number 1 cause of death globally. And coronavirus is part of that. It's part of it. It's a virus, but it is attacking the cardiovascular system. All right. So looking at maximum oxygen intake, which is just your cardiovascular fitness, a measure of your cardiovascular fitness. So men drop 5 points on that every decade. Women drop 5 points every decade. A little bit, they start a little bit later. So every decade after age 20, men tend to drop that 5, largely due to inactivity and increase in body fat. All right. So if you are not inactive and you do not have the increase in body fat, you might be able to say goodbye to that, that factor that it drops it all. As you can actually maintain that, you can keep that, and you can get some of it back. It's not too late. All right, once VO2 max drops below 18 for men and 15 for women, a person loses functional independence, and I would say they're in a critical place, for the coronavirus. So this video is for the 70-year-old, is for the 80-year-old, is for the person, who is 300 pounds. This is not going to be ridiculous stuff I'm suggesting. These are things that you can do, and I believe in the minimum effective dose. All right, so I don't want you to have to become a marathon runner. Let's look at what you could do. What can we do? Well, this one's nice, but it's still too long, I think. They did aerobic activity 30 minutes a day, 3 to 5 days a week. It slowed it down. They improved VO2 max 12.9% in just 8 to 10 weeks. Improved it more over a longer time. Higher intensities, when they went harder, it was a 25% increase, which is equivalent of gaining back 12 years of vigor. That's cool. But that's a long time. This spike is happening 4 months from now. What can we do? Greater intensity, greater protection. So, do you have 4 minutes a day? All right, from the study here, they checked out whole body aerobic resistance training. One group did a 4-minute interval workout 4 times per week. The other group did 30 minutes of hard cardio 4 times per week. Both improved cardio endurance by 8% and 7% respectively, which means the 4-minute group actually did better. They did 1% better by only spending 4 minutes and only 4 weeks. I think even some of that, if they would have tested, I bet they would have found some of that benefit in 2 weeks. All right, and so that's what we're going to work on in this program. We're going to nail it for 2 weeks. All right, that's only 64 minutes of exercise in an entire month. We all have the ability to do that. And we're going to show you some exercises that will fit into anybody's, if they have injuries, if it's really, really difficult, we've got some exercises that'll help you get started. So I believe this can apply to every individual, even marching in place. You might, catch the COVID-19, some weeks from now. You may, then when it spikes up and somehow you get exposed, will you be the 8% stronger? Because sometimes, what if, right? What if what you needed was the 8% to be strong enough to make it? Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like thoughts like that. I don't like being alarmist either. But honestly, that's the truth. All right, another piece we're going to look at is weight loss and getting off medications, which I find is tied in intimately with weight loss. Extra weight, especially extra fat, is inflammation. All right, I don't want to fat shame. It is not about that. This is about your health. All right, this is not about your figure. All right, this is about your health. And if you have extra fat on your body, that is extra inflammation on your body. And if you have a lot of extra fat, that's a lot of extra inflammation. Inflammation is a big player in autoimmune reactions, which seems to be affecting some people with the coronavirus here, is that it starts to trigger some autoimmune stuff. Their body starts to fight and battle itself a little bit, and it does not go well. All right? It can kill you if COVID-19 doesn't also. All right? So just because you don't die of the coronavirus doesn't mean you can't die of a heart attack. And like my friend's father, he was in that category. If you have extra fat on your body, you usually have extra fat in your blood. So cholesterol, your blood pressure's up, all those things are a factor there. All right. So that's weight loss. We've got to do it. So immune boost is the other one. The factors that go in. I'm not an immunologist. I'm not. But these are things that do help. Sleep is huge. Hydration, big deal. Getting enough sleep, getting enough water in. Nutrition, especially vegetables. All right, we're going to be talking about some nutritional strategies that can make this a little bit easier to do. Vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, consider supplements, during this time. Exercise is an immune booster. Now, if you go too crazy hard, it's not, but this 4 minutes of you going after it is not too crazy hard. You'll be just fine. You will not, you won't drop your immune system. Like if you did people who do like a marathon and go crazy fast, they beat themselves up, that recovery, their immune system actually might be down. So there is a too much for exercise, but definitely 4 minutes is not going to be in the too much category. You'll be well off. And then stress management, where our mind is at is a big deal. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit. After this slide here, how to be satisfied with less food. This is what we need for weight loss. We need to figure out that's the trick, is how can I be satisfied when I'm in this lower calorie level. Now I'm going to argue that it's not less food that you need, that you can actually have a large quantity of food. It's actually less calories that you need. You need to take in fewer calories. All right, so some of the strategies that are big time on this, I'm not going to go through these, spend too much time on these. We're going to kind of spread these out over the course of the 2 weeks so you can begin learning. But we're going to start with some of the most important ones, which I think is water and protein. All right, so having enough water, about half your body weight in ounces of water, is going to be kind of a goal to be shooting for. That helps flush your system, helps flush inflammation out of your body. If you pee more, that's great. You're getting rid of more inflammation. All right, when you have the protein, in there, that does massive amounts for keeping you full. All right, so I think a lot of people aren't getting enough protein in. Their breakfast is full of carbohydrates. It is in the breads category, the cereals, those kind of things. Or it's coffee with cream and sugar, which is also just a carbohydrate. So the breakfast is lacking protein. Lunch, a lot of times, ends up lacking protein. Even if they attempt to do a healthy salad or something like that, they didn't have any protein with it. All right. And then dinner. So sometimes that's where people do end up having some protein, but if you have like pasta or something like that for dinner, you're out then too. So getting that protein in, you'll be surprised. You'll be very surprised. That's a strategy I want you to really work on, for this program, is getting enough protein in. You're looking for about 20 grams per meal. Fat, making sure you have enough fat in each meal so that way you're more satisfied. If you have a meal that skips fat altogether, not good. If it's just a crazy amount of fat, that's not good either. All right, so you're looking about 10 grams per meal is a helpful target to begin shooting for. Mini meals. All right, so before you get crazy hungry, you eat so that way you don't want carbs constantly. So if you're trying to battle against the cravings, the carbs craving cycle, the sugar rush, the sugar crash, we got to start stepping off of that. Protein will help you step off of that, but also smaller increments between meals. So about 3 to 4 hours between meals can be helpful. Vegetables and fruit. Getting your vitamins and minerals up decreases toxic hunger. All right, the toxic hunger of your body saying, I need nutrients. I don't care if your pants fit. I need these vitamins and minerals. And so it makes you hungry for more food to satisfy your vitamin and mineral needs when the calories send you way over the top. All right, so getting enough vegetables and fruit, mostly vegetables, will help get nutrition with very low calorie. Taper back on sweets. It is number 6 because I think that should happen after you do the first 5. There is a point where you do need to pull back on sugar because it is very addictive. So you're going to choose to go back on sweets and avoid poisons. It sounds funny, but you're looking at alcohol, caffeine. Don't make friends with either of those two. But food additives and dyes and certain things like that, you want to watch out for heavily processed foods. And so you're trying to stay away from some of that stuff. If you do those things really, really well, you can kick some major butt. All right, the last two, how do I feel and create a craving, are a bit deeper, and kind of the next slides we'll kind of cover that a little bit. So how do I feel? It has to do with managing your emotional state, because sometimes we use food to manage our emotions. And number 9 is create a craving, is to have some sort of purpose or reason for doing what you're doing, and you'll see what happens in the next slides here. So those are some of the nutrition strategies, and again, we're going to be talking them throughout the next 2 weeks here. All right, so Viktor Frankl, he's a Holocaust survivor. So here on the left picture there, here he is at you see the barbed wire in the background in a concentration camp. All right, getting liberated actually. So he's probably, that's why he's got a pretty nice smirk on. He's pretty happy there. He is excited about that, I'm sure. And so he survived. He survived. And he also learned what happened to people when they survived. What kind of things did he notice? He could perceive when somebody was done. He'd watch somebody, when the hope drained from their eyes, the way they started to talk, the way they started to speak, the way they started to act. He said that person's going to be gone, and within days, they'd be gone. They would die. And he could tell that. He could see that. And so when you lost hope, things went bad. So he found 3 ways to find meaning. All right, so how do you deal with this? It turns into a depression therapy. Was some of his learnings here. All right, so number 1, a project you need to work on daily that someone will suffer if not done. It gets you out of bed. All right. is two, a redemptive perspective on suffering, is that suffering can be for a purpose. You can see that it makes you stronger, it makes you better. A lot of the prisoners of war and things like that said, you know what, this is going to define the rest of my life. Is the way I deal with this challenge, how I come through with this, it's going to rewrite my story. And I will be better for it. I will be a better human, deeper thinker, appreciate the finer things more. So there's a redemptive perspective on suffering. So you believe that can make you better. And then three is close, unconditional relationships with people who accept you as you are. And so, why COVID-19 weight gain? Well, because a project you need to work on daily, people lost their jobs. So they lost some of that project they work on daily. So they need to replace that. All right. Number two is redemptive perspective on suffering. They don't see the growth potential yet. All they see is the problems. You got to get above the problem and look for opportunities to grow. All right. And that can be done. That can be done in a concentration camp, when death is all around you. So it definitely can be done now during the coronavirus. Number three, close unconditional relationships, is needed. Social distancing has hurt some of that. And so we're starting to have moments where we can connect. You're finding creative ways to distance and connect with people. It can really be big. And that's why I think a lot of people gained weight during this time. If you didn't, congratulations. You made it through pretty good. But if you did, we can get that off. We're going to need some of these habits a little bit too. All right, so the three strategies to increase your defense. All right, the daily Tabata is going to be one of the things we're going to work on. We're going to work on increasing activity. All right, so just getting your daily calorie burn up a little bit more. So be productive, get around, move around, do stuff. All right, that's going to do a lot for helping to speed up, the weight loss. And then implement these satisfied habits. So those ways to be satisfied. All right, so you get that protein in, you get some of those other things happening, you will see some pretty good results. And depending on how hard you go at it, the bigger results. But if you even just go a little bit, you will strengthen your defenses. All right, and then we probably need to add in our 3 ways to find meaning as well. All right, so let's jump in here. Let's start with our daily Tabata. Let's get a Tabata in, get that 4 minutes done. Okay, and check out the lessons and begin implementing some of the nutrition habits there. The big one I want you to work on first is protein. All right, so today we're going to get the Tabata in, and I want you to work on protein now. All right, this is Jeremy saying have fun, be safe, God bless, and man, I'm praying for you, praying for us all.